The chamber of the Galactic Council was a place of pride and fear. It was where great empires decided the future of the stars. The walls were high and shining, carved from metals that no single world could shape alone. Inside, voices echoed, deep and powerful, as alien leaders spoke of war, trade, and conquest. On this day, the talk was about Earth. A large hollow screen flickered in the center. It showed a blue and green planet turning slowly in the dark. 100 alien eyes focused on it. Some looked with scorn, others with amusement. Few took it seriously. Humans, one voice boomed. It came from a tall figure with skin like burning coal and eyes like molten gold. He was Lord Varix of the Drakari Empire, a race known for their strength in battle. He raised a claw and pointed toward the image of Earth. These small creatures dare to claim the stars. They speak of defense. They speak of allies. But look at them. They are weak. They are prey. Laughter filled the chamber. Another alien leaned forward. Her body was long and thin, her face sharp like a blade. She belonged to the Zeari, masters of strategy and deception. She sneered. We studied their weapons. Their fleets are small. Their soldiers bleed and break as easily as glass. And what of their companions? With a flick of her hand, the hollow screen changed. The crowd gasped, then roared with laughter. The screen now showed two animals, a striped badger low and wide, standing stubbornly in the dirt, and a house cat, small and calm, resting on a human lap. The cat blinked slowly, unimpressed by the galaxy's laughter. These, the Zeari leader mocked, are the creatures they call family. The humans tell us these animals protect them, fight for them, and even stand beside them in danger. Do you not see how ridiculous this is? A clawless little beast. A fat, slow burrower. These are Earth's champions. The chamber shook with cruel amusement. Voices overlapped. Pets. Children's toys. Is this a joke? Even the great warlords, who rarely laughed, let out low growls of humor. One voice, heavy and booming, rose above the noise. It was Admiral Zurith of the Koldar Dominion, a conqueror whose fleets had burned 6 worlds. His mandibles clicked as he spoke. I fought 12 wars across the galaxy. I faced blades that cut stone and beasts that ate metal. But never have I seen warriors as small and foolish as these. If humans think these animals will save them, they are more naive than I thought. He spat the last word with disgust. The laughter grew louder, crueler, sharper. The great council of the galaxy had found its entertainment. Earth was a joke. Humans were children. Their defenders were nothing but scraps of fur and teeth. But not everyone laughed. At one end of the table sat a human ambassador. He wore no armor. His hair was gray, his eyes calm. He did not rise, did not shout, did not beg. He only sat and listened. The laughter echoed around him. Yet he remained still, as if the storm could not touch him. Some aliens noticed the silence. A few frowned. Why did he not defend his world? Why did he not deny the mockery? Did he know something they did not? Still, the laughter went on. The screen now showed a cat batting lazily at a string, and the chamber howled with delight. One alien choked on his drink from laughing so hard. Another fell from his chair. Lord Varix leaned closer to the human ambassador. His golden eyes glowed with cruel humor. Tell me, little Earthman, do you believe this? Do you truly believe your world's fate lies in the paws of such pitiful beasts? The ambassador finally looked up. His voice was soft, almost gentle. I believe, he said, that you do not understand Earth. The room fell silent for a moment. Then another wave of laughter crashed down, louder than before. Do not understand? Admiral Zurith repeated. His mandibles clattered like snapping bones. I understand well enough. Earth is weak. Its warriors are children. Its defenders are pets. Its place will be beneath our boots, nothing more. The ambassador did not reply. He only smiled. That smile unsettled a few of the leaders. It was not the smile of a man defeated. It was not the smile of one mocked into silence. It was a smile of someone who knew something others did not. But the chamber ignored the warning. The laughter rolled on like thunder, drowning out doubt. High above, the hollow screen continued to show the cat and the badger. The cat's green eyes seemed to shine, calm and sharp, watching as if it could see into the hearts of the aliens who mocked it. The badger stood stubbornly, as if daring the galaxy to try its luck. And for a moment, only a moment, some in the room felt uneasy. They laughed, but deep inside they wondered, what if Earth was not truly alone? What if the pets were not pets at all? The thought passed quickly, lost in the noise of the mocking voices. But it lingered in the shadows of the council chamber, waiting for the day it would rise. The galaxy laughed at Earth, but Earth did not laugh back. And silence sometimes is the loudest warning of all. The laughter of the Galactic Council still echoed to the stars long after the meeting had ended. Word spread quickly from world to world. News channels replayed the hollow of the cat and the badger, mocking Earth. Merchants shared jokes about the mighty pets of humankind. Soldiers in distant fleets laughed over drinks, calling humans foolish dreamers. But as the joke spread, so too did something else. Whispers, small stories, unproven tales, reports that were dismissed at first, until they began to multiply. It began on the outer rim, in lawless space where pirates and mercenaries ruled. A trader named Rither came limping into port with a broken ship. His voice shook as he told anyone who would listen what had happened. "We thought it was easy prey," he said. "One transport, human crew, small cargo. We boarded it without trouble. Their soldiers were weak. But then the beast came." The listeners leaned closer. "What beast?" Rither swallowed. It was striped, low to the ground. It moved with fury. It tore through armor as if it were paper. It did not stop. It did not fear. It fought as though it wanted us all dead. Some laughed at him. A child's story. You were beaten by humans, not a beast. But Rither shook his head, eyes wide. No human did this. It was an animal. A badger, they called it. A badger. The story spread to the ports. A few ignored it. A few mocked it. But some listened with unease. Another whisper came from a different corner of the galaxy. A Zyran cruiser, a warship feared for its speed, was found drifting in space, crew missing or mad. The report was confused. Survivors spoke of shadows moving through the vents, of lights failing one by one, of screams in the dark. It was small, one survivor said, shaking uncontrollably. So small. Green eyes. It moved where nothing should move. We tried to shoot it, but it was already gone. It came back again and again. Our weapons were useless. It was like fighting the dark itself. A medic asked him what the creature was. His answer was almost a whisper. A cat. They said it was a cat. When the report reached the council, they dismissed it as madness, but others were not so sure. The alien empires wanted to keep laughing at Earth. They wanted to keep believing humans were weak. Yet the stories grew harder to ignore. A Koldar general, preparing to invade a human colony, received warning from one of his own scouts. Do not take them lightly. They are never alone. Even their smallest beasts fight with them. The general scoffed. Superstition. But the scout looked him in the eye. I saw it. I saw a small creature claw through a raider's throat while the human scientist it defended ran free. That was no superstition. That was war. The general said nothing. But later that night, he dreamed of shadows with green eyes. Even in the crowded trade markets, whispers began to spread. Merchants who sold to humans spoke quietly. They bring their animals everywhere, one merchant muttered. Not in cages, not on chains. The animals walk free beside them. The humans smile, as if daring anyone to test them. Another merchant nodded. I saw a child, just a child, walking with a striped creature. A raider thought it easy prey. He reached for the child. The beast snapped his arm in two before he could even scream. The listeners shivered. And what did the humans do? They only said, "That's our friend." Back in the great halls of the council, the human ambassador remained quiet. He returned to his seat day after day, listening as aliens mocked his world. But behind closed doors, other ambassadors whispered about him. He does not defend himself. He does not argue. He only smiles. To some, that silence was weakness. To others, it was something far more dangerous. One Zayari spy whispered to her master, "I watched him leave. He was never alone. Always there was a shadow nearby." A black shape low to the ground. When I tried to follow, my path was blocked. I heard a hiss in the dark, though I saw nothing. I will not follow again. Her master frowned. Perhaps the humans were not so weak after all. On a mining station, a merchant ship arrived with unusual cargo. Human settlers and their families. They brought no soldiers, no war machines, only small crates and bags. The station guards laughed at them. "What will you do if raiders come?" The guards asked. "Fight with those little pets of yours?" The human leader, a woman with calm eyes, only smiled. "We will not be afraid. Our friends are with us." Days later, raiders attacked. The guards expected the humans to beg for help. Instead, they watched in horror as the pets tore into the raiders with fury no one had ever seen. Cats vanished into shadows and struck from above. Badgers broke armored limbs. Even the smallest animals, creatures the guards thought harmless, fought with rage. When the battle ended, the raiders lay broken. Not a single human had fallen. The guards never mocked them again. The whispers grew louder. Across the galaxy, taverns and barracks echoed with strange stories. "They are not alone," some said. "Every beast of earth fights for them," others added. "Even their smallest ones kill without fear." For every laugh, there was now a pause. For every joke, a shadow of doubt. The galaxy was beginning to wonder, what if the humans were hiding something? One evening, in the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, the hollow screen once again displayed Earth. But this time, the laughter was softer. The jokes came slower. And when the image of the cat appeared, fewer dared to mock it. Lord Varric still scoffed. Stories, nothing more. But Admiral Zuritha's mandibles clicked nervously. He remembered the survivor's whisper, green eyes in the dark. The Zayari strategist frowned as she recalled her spy's fear. And in the silence that followed, the human ambassador smiled once more. He did not need to speak. The whispers spoke for him. The galaxy wanted to believe the stories were lies. But deep inside, they knew the truth. No lie spread so far, so fast, without fire behind its smoke. The galaxy laughed at Earth once. Now it began to wonder. And soon it would begin to fear. For every whisper carried the same message. Again and again, the cat and the badger stood with humanity. And humanity was never alone. The colony on Terralese 4 was small, quiet, and new. Humans had only settled it a few months before, planting crops in the red soil and building homes from stone and steel. To the wider galaxy, it was nothing, a fragile outpost on the edge of nowhere, defended by no soldiers and guarded by no fleets. Raiders saw it as a prize waiting to be taken. The attack came at dawn. The sky split with fire as mercenary ships descended. Engines roared. Dust clouds rose, and the people of the colony ran to their shelters. Doors slammed shut. Mothers pulled children close. Farmers grabbed tools, though tools would not stop plasma rifles. The invaders marched through the fields with cruel laughter. They had fought many battles before, but this one was no battle at all. To them, it was a hunt. At the center of the colony was a research station, its walls plain and gray. Inside, a single human scientist was still working, bent over his instruments. His name was Dr. Hale, and he was not a soldier. His hands were made for tools, not weapons. Yet when the alarm sounded, he did not run. He turned his chair slowly, and at his feet stirred a low, striped shape. The badger rose. It was not large compared to the aliens now marching toward the station. It had no armor, no glowing weapons, no strange implants. It was only muscle, teeth, and fury wrapped in black and white fur. But when it looked at the door, its eyes burned with something far older than plasma and steel. The raiders broke through. Their leader pushed inside, sneering at the sight of the human in his chair. He raised his weapon. "You will come with us," he said. "The others may live, but your knowledge belongs to us now." Dr. Hale did not move. He only whispered, "You should not have come here." The badger snarled. The sound was low, rumbling, almost like the earth itself was warning them. The raiders laughed at first. One of them raised his boot as if to kick the animal aside. The badger moved. It was faster than sight, a streak of black and white that launched with impossible strength. Teeth met armor, and armor shattered. The raider screamed as the creature tore into him, ripping through flesh and metal alike. Another fired his weapon, but the badger twisted away, the shot burning empty air. It hit him again, and again it did not fall. Panic spread. The mercenaries had faced monsters before, but this was different. This was not a beast fighting for food. This was something else. Something that fought with purpose, with fury, with loyalty deeper than fear. The room filled with screams as the badger ripped through the raiders one by one, unyielding, unstoppable. Dr. Hale did not move from his chair. He sat calmly, watching as the mercenaries who had come to capture him were broken by something they had thought was harmless. When it was done, when the floor was slick with blood and the survivors fled in terror, the badger returned to him. Its fur was dark with battle, but its eyes were calm now. It climbed back to its place by his feet and rested, as if nothing had happened. Word of the slaughter spread fast. The survivors told their story again and again, and each time their voices shook more. They spoke of an animal that felt no fear, that fought with rage no weapon could stop, that hunted them like prey. They had come for a helpless human, and instead they had met something they could not understand. The galaxy heard their whispers. Some dismissed them as exaggeration. Others mocked them as cowards. But more and more began to wonder. If one badger could destroy a squad of trained raiders, what could 100 do? What could 1,000? And why did it fight not as a beast, but as though it understood? The raiders who had fled refused to fight humans again. They swore on their lives never to face Earth's beasts, no matter price. When asked why, they gave the same answer every time. It was not an animal. It was death wearing fur. In the Galactic Council, the story reached the ears of the leaders. Many still laughed. Admiral Zurith shook his head with disgust. Scared men tell lies. No animal could do this. It is weakness disguised as myth. But others were not so certain. The Zayari strategist narrowed her eyes. She had heard too many such whispers to dismiss them, and she remembered the smile of the human ambassador, always calm, always silent. The ambassador, as always, said nothing. He only watched, and in his lap a cat purred quietly, its green eyes half closed. The council moved on to other matters. Yet the whispers did not stop. They grew louder, moving from the shadows into the light. Mercenaries refused contract against humans. Pirates avoided their trade routes. Some empires began to wonder if perhaps Earth's weakness was only an illusion. Meanwhile, On Terralise 4, the colonists rebuilt their homes. They spoke of the attack not with fear, but with pride. Children laughed as they ran past the research station, pointing at the badger who now rested outside, watching the fields like a guardian. They called it a hero, and they were not wrong. Dr. Hale continued his work. When asked what had happened that day, he gave only a simple answer. The raiders forgot an old truth. On Earth, nothing is ever helpless, not even the smallest creature. The badger did not care for words. It only cared for its duty and for the human it had chosen to protect. In the deep silence of night, when the stars shone cold and distant, the badger would lift its head and sniff the air as if it knew more danger would come. And it was ready, always ready. The galaxy still laughed at Earth, but not as loudly as before. The whispers had taken root. Fear was growing. Somewhere in the dark, a cat stretched and yawned. Somewhere else, another badger dug its claws into the soil. And far away, in the great council chamber, a human smiled in silence while the galaxy mocked him. It would not be long before the laughter ended. For the first time, the galaxy had seen Earth's strength. It wore fur. It walked on four legs. And it was not afraid of anyone. The fleet of General Karath was feared across 3 sectors. His warships were sharp as knives, black as a void, and each carried enough firepower to erase a city in a single strike. He had fought humans before, or so he claimed, and found them unimpressive. Fragile, he told his officers. Predictable. They hide behind machines because they cannot fight alone. When news reached him that a human diplomat was traveling through neutral space, he saw an opportunity. Capture the diplomat, humiliate Earth, and prove to the Council that humanity's weakness was beyond doubt. His fleet closed around a human vessel, like predators circling prey. The diplomat's ship was not large. It carried no heavy weapons, no escorts, only a few crew and the diplomat himself. To Karath, it looked like a gift. He ordered his soldiers to board, to drag the human out before the eyes of the galaxy. Yet when the boarding teams returned, something was wrong. Their voices shook. The human is guarded. Karath's mandibles clicked. By whom? Soldiers. No, one soldier answered, eyes wide. By something small. Black fur. Green eyes. A creature they call a cat. Laughter filled the command deck. The general slammed his claw against the arm of his throne. You fear a pet? He roared. Go back. Take the human. Crush the animal if it stands in your way. They obeyed, though uneasily. Again they entered the diplomat's ship. Again silence followed. Minutes passed. Then alarms rang. Lights across the flagship flickered and dimmed. Systems failed one by one. In the dark, soldiers screamed. Karath rose from his seat. Report. No report came. Only static filled the comms. Then, in the shadows of the deck, something moved. It was small, silent, and swift. Green eyes glowed for a moment, then vanished into the vents above. Karath snarled. Seal the ship. Find it. His officers scrambled, weapons raised. But the cat did not fight as beasts fight. It hunted. It slipped through the vents, darted across wires, and struck where no one expected. A soldier fell, throat cut by claws. Another screamed as the lights died above him, leaving only glowing eyes in the dark. Panic spread through the crew. Everywhere the cat moved, chaos followed. Doors locked at the wrong time. Engines overheated. Weapons jammed. The fleet's heart began to break apart, not from battle, but from fear. Soldiers fired wildly, but every shot hit only walls and shadows. The cat was never where they looked. Karath himself finally saw it, standing calm upon the console of his bridge. So small, so ordinary, yet his eyes burned with strange, sharp intelligence. He raised his weapon. The cat leapt. The general fired. But the creature was already gone, claws tearing across his face. He roared in rage as blood dripped from his mandibles. When he looked again, the cat had vanished into the vents once more. The diplomat remained untouched in his chamber, calm as if nothing outside concerned him. When soldiers begged him for protection, he only stroked the cat that had returned to his lap. It purred softly, as though it had done nothing at all. By dawn, the fleet was in ruins. Engines burned, systems collapsed, and half the ships drifted powerless in space. Those who survived told wild stories of a demon in fur, a shadow that killed without mercy, a set of glowing eyes that promised death. They spoke of fear so deep they would never face humans again. When the council heard of Karatha's defeat, many refused to believe. A single cat cannot destroy a fleet, they argued. This is madness. But those who had seen it shook their heads. They had seen soldiers who once mocked humans now tremble at the thought of a purring sound in the dark. They had seen warlords whisper to one another in private. Perhaps the humans are not weak. Perhaps their beasts are not what they seem. Still many laughed. Yet their laughter was thinner now, weaker. It cracked at the edges. For each joke, there was now a pause, a glance over the shoulder, a moment when silence grew heavy. The human ambassador never defended himself. He never raised his voice. He only smiled as before, his hand resting on the small black cat that sat beside him. And when his fellow diplomats asked him what had happened to General Karatha's fleet, he gave the same answer every time. They met one of Earth's shadows, he said. And shadows are hard to kill. The galaxy began to whisper again, not about weakness now, but about fear. Fear of what else humans kept hidden. Fear of what other shadows lurked in that blue world, waiting for the day they were needed. In the quiet corners of the council, some empires began to plan. Not war, but retreat. They marked human space as dangerous. They told their captains, avoid it. Do not test it. Pirates began refusing contract against human colonies. Smugglers spread rumors in bars. The humans bring their beasts with them. Not trained, not forced. They follow because they want to, and that makes them far worse than weapons. Some called the stories lies. Some said they were only tricks spread by humans themselves. But the fear in the eyes of those who had seen the cat could not be faked. Even Karath, scarred and humiliated, never spoke of it again. He retired in silence, his once mighty fleet broken, his pride shattered by something small enough to fit in a child's arms. And still, the cat purred in the lap of the ambassador, calm and patient, as if the galaxy's fear meant nothing at all. The galaxy had laughed at Earth. Now it laughed less. It spoke more quietly. It looked over its shoulder when the shadows grew too deep, because in every whisper, in every fearful glance, there was the same memory, glowing green eyes in the dark and the soft, endless sound of purring. The humans never claimed the cat was a weapon. They never called it soldier. They only said it was family, and that, the galaxy began to realize, was far worse. For weapons could be broken, soldiers could be defeated, but family fought with a strength that never ended, a loyalty that no fear could erase. And the cat, so small, so quiet, had shown them that even the shadows belonged to Earth. The council chamber was no longer filled with laughter. Where once the images of Earth's cat and badger had been treated as a comedy, now silence lingered whenever their names were spoken. Too many stories had spread. Too many ships had returned broken. Too many soldiers trembling with fear. It began with small changes. Merchants who once mocked humans now lowered their voices when they saw them pass. Pirates who had sworn to raid human colonies began refusing contracts. Smugglers whispered warnings in dark bars. Do not touch Earth's people. Their beasts will come for you. The galaxy tried to deny it. The leaders told themselves the stories were exaggerations. the result of weak soldiers spreading fear. But deep inside, unease had taken root, and fear, once planted, grows quickly. At the next gathering of the council, Lord Varix of the Drakari slammed his claw against the table. "This is foolishness," he growled. "We speak of shadows as though they are weapons. Animals cannot turn fleets to ash. We are wasting time." Yet even he glanced uneasily at the human ambassador, who sat in his usual place with the same calm smile. Beside him, the black cat purred, its eyes half closed, as if it owned the chamber itself. The Zayari strategist leaned forward. Her voice was sharp but careful. "And yet, my lord, fleets have fallen. Soldiers where they were defeated not by men or machines, but by beasts. Even if the stories are not true, belief itself is power. Whole armies hesitate now at the thought of facing humans." Admiral Zurith clicked his mandibles nervously. He remembered his own soldiers' reports of green eyes in the dark, and the scar that still marked his face. "Fear," he admitted, "is spreading faster than truth. I have captains who would rather desert than fight near human space again." The chamber fell silent. For the first time, none mocked Earth openly. The laughter had died, replaced by a weight no one could shake. Beyond the chamber, across 1,000 worlds, fear took many forms. On mining stations, guards looked twice at every shadow, listening for the hiss of claws. In trade ports, whispers spread of colonists walking calmly through danger zones, their animals beside them, untouched by thieves. Raiders who once ruled lawless space now fled at the sight of a striped shape or a glint of green eyes. Everywhere, the same words passed from mouth to mouth. Do not fight humans. Do not touch their beasts. They are never alone. The human ambassador never argued, never defended his people, never raised his voice against the mocking. He only smiled and let the whispers work for him. And each day, the cat sat quietly at his side, as if waiting for the galaxy to understand what silence already knew. One night, deep in the private halls of the council, two leaders spoke in hushed voices. "Perhaps we were wrong," one said. "Perhaps Earth is not weak." "Not weak?" the other replied. "They hide behind animals. They trick us with fear." "Or perhaps," the first whispered, "those animals are not hiding anything at all. Perhaps they're the truth of Earth. Perhaps we never understood what that world creates." They said no more, but their silence was louder than any laughter had been. The galaxy had not yet admitted its fear, but it lived in every glance, every pause, every rumor that spread like fire. The council still called humans fragile, but their voices trembled when they said it. And in the quiet, as the cats perfilled the chamber once again, many began to realize the truth. Weapons could be studied, armies could be measured, but the beasts of Earth could not be explained. They were not trained, not forced. They chose to fight. And that choice was what made them terrifying. The galaxy had laughed at Earth. Now it whispered. And whispers, once they grow strong enough, can shake empires. The whispers were no longer enough for the galaxy's rulers. Rumors had spread too far. Fear had dug too deep. Fleets refused orders. Colonies whispered of cursed beasts. And merchants avoided human space as though it carried plague. For the council, this was no longer just an insult to their pride. It was a threat to control. So they chose a test. Lord Varix proposed it with his usual thunder. If Earth claims strength, let them show it before us all. If their animals are so mighty, let them face what no beast can endure. The galaxy will see the truth, and this fear will end. Many agreed, though unease lingered. Some feared the humans might fail, and that would mean their usefulness as a trade partner was broken. Others feared they might succeed, and that thought was far more dangerous. Still, the plan was set. The test would be public. It would be broadcast across systems, watched on stations and ships, screens glowing on every world. No rumors this time. No whispers. The galaxy would see for itself. The challenge was simple, at least in words. Earth's guardians, the cat and the badger, would be placed in the trial arena, the ancient battleground where great beasts from 100 worlds had fought for honor. They would face one of the Council's chosen predators, a monster bred for war, something larger than any human, something that had slaughtered even armored soldiers. When the news reached Earth's ambassador, he only bowed slightly, as if the plan amused him. "If this is your wish," he said softly, "we will not refuse." The cat licked its paw. The badger simply yawned. The day came. The trial arena filled with alien spectators. Billions more watched from their homes, their stations, their warships. The council sat high in their gilded seats, proud and certain of the outcome. The arena's gates opened, and from one side entered the council's chosen beast, a creature of metal scales and poison fangs, taller than a tank, its roar shaking the stone. The crowd gasped at its size, its fury. From the other gate walked the human ambassador, calm as ever. At his feet patted the black cat. At his side marched the badger, its claws clicking on the stone floor. The crowd erupted in laughter and disbelief. The difference was too great. It was not a fight, they thought. It was a joke. The gates slammed shut. Silence fell. The beast roared, a sound like thunder tearing through mountains. It charged, each step cracking the floor. Poison dripped from its fangs. The ground shook as it closed the distance. The cat did not run. It crouched low, eyes glowing green in the light. The badger's teeth flashed as it stood its ground. And when the monster leapt, claws spread wide to crush them both. The little warriors moved. The cat struck first. With a blur too fast for many to see, it sprang upward, claws slicing across the beast's eyes. The creature roared in pain, blinded for a moment, stumbling. Before it could recover, the badger rammed forward, its body low and strong, claws tearing through the armored scales at its legs. Blood splattered, and the crowd gasped. The monster tried to crush the badger, slamming its tail down. The cat leapt again, landing on the tail, claws digging deep. The beast howled, thrashing, but the badger refused to let go. Teeth sunk into its leg. The arena shook with violence. Dust filled the air. The monster swung, slammed toward itself. But the two earth animals moved with deadly rhythm. Strike, retreat, strike again. They were small, but they were everywhere at once. The beast slowed. It staggered. And with one final leap, the cat landed on its head, claws sinking deep into the soft wound where the eyes had been. The badger tore its throat open in the same instant. Silence fell. Then, slowly, the monster collapsed, its thunderous body crashing to the ground. Dust rose, covering the arena. When it cleared, the crowd saw the truth. The great beast was dead, and standing atop its broken body were the cat and the badger, blood on their claws, calm in their victory. The cat began to lick its paw again. The badger shook itself and grunted, as if unimpressed. The arena was silent. No laughter. No mockery. Billions of eyes stared at the screens, unable to deny what they had seen. The human ambassador looked up at the council, his calm smile unchanged. "You wish for a test," he said. "Now you have your answer." No one spoke. No one dared. And in that silence, the galaxy's fear was no longer rumor. It was truth. The arena remained silent long after the beast had fallen. Dust clung to the air, drifting like smoke across the ruined stone. The black cat sat calmly on the monster's head, tail curling lazily, while the badger stood at its throat, chest rising and falling with steady breaths. The image burned itself into every watching mind. Across the galaxy, billions sat frozen before glowing screens. Pirates in shadow bars, miners deep in asteroids, soldiers aboard warships, All saw the same vision. A beast that had once slaughtered armies now lay dead at the claws of Earth's smallest creatures. And the message was clear. If a cat and a badger could do this, what else had on Earth? The council chamber quivered with unease. Leaders shifted in their seats, but no words came. Their grand test had been meant to humiliate Earth, to erase fear with proof. Instead, it had crowned humans with a legend far greater than before. The human ambassador did not bow, did not gloat. He simply lifted his head and spoke with quiet strength. You mocked our world. You called us weak. Yet we are never alone. Our strength is not measured in size, but in bond. On Earth, life stands together. That is why we endure. The cat stretched and leapt to his shoulder, settling like a king reclaiming his throne. The badger patted his side, eyes sharp, claws stained with victory. The ambassador turned and walked from the arena, leaving silence heavy in his wake. In the days that followed, the galaxy changed. On the trade stations, merchants who once laughed at human fragility now bowed their heads when Earth ships arrived. Raiders stopped their ambushes, whispering prayers at the sight of paw prints left in dust. Soldiers told each other stories by dim firelight, of glowing green eyes in the dark, of striped fury that could not be broken, of humans who walked with guardians from another age. Fear had not only survived the test, it had multiplied. The council tried to speak against it, but their words carried no weight. The image of the dead beast with two tiny victors, standing atop, it was stronger than any speech. In time, some species began to admire humans rather than fear them. If such small creatures fight for them, they reasoned, perhaps humans are not conquerors, but leaders of loyalty. Allies grew closer. Treaties were signed more quickly, and colonies once isolated opened their gates. But beneath the admiration, fear never left. For every friend humanity gained, 10 others chose distance, unwilling to risk awakening the beasts of Earth. No empire dared to declare war. No fleet dared to trespass. Even the fiercest warlords began to plot elsewhere, far from human borders. The galaxy had laughed. Now it bent, not through weapons, not through conquest, but through the simple truth of Earth's bond. On a distant human colony, children played outside under alien skies. A cat rested on the steps of a home, watching. A badger dug lazily in the soil nearby. Passing aliens saw them and looked away, whispering warnings, unwilling to cross their path. To the children, it was ordinary. To the galaxy, it was a reminder. Humanity was never alone. Back in the council, a new silence ruled. No one mocked Earth anymore. No one dared call them weak. Instead, leaders spoke carefully, with eyes that betrayed caution. Every mention of humans carried weight. Every deal signed with them was written with respect born from fear. The human ambassador never changed. He still wore the same calm smile, still spoke with patience. But those who met his gaze now felt a chill, as though he carried the echo of claws and teeth behind his eyes. And beside him, as always, the cat purred and the badger grunted, silent reminders of what the galaxy had seen. Legends spread faster than ships. In bars, they said the cat could see souls in the dark. In military outposts, they said the badger's claws could cut steel. In temples, some even whispered that Earth's beasts were not animals at all, but guardians sent by ancient powers. The truth mattered little. What mattered was belief, and belief had reshaped the galaxy. Where once Earth had been mocked, now it was respected. Where once humans had been doubted, now they were feared. Not because of weapons, not because of armies, but because of the bond between a people and the beasts that chose to stand with them. The galaxy had learned its lesson, carved into stone and blood. Earth's strength was never alone.